In this brief video, I will talk about frequency-based training, a type of training that comes with a quite impressive list of benefits. This list of benefits includes improved technique, increase in muscular hypertrophy, improvements in speed, and improvements in anaerobic and aerobic power. I got the original inspiration to frequency-based training from a variety of resources. It's so long ago, so I'm not fully sure, but the two I remember is one, and the book Super Training, where Mel Sip talks about that his wife became a paraplegic, and she had used to be a ballet dancer, and she wanted to still train, so she developed a system where she could sit and move the arms in large ranges as fast as possible to the beat of a metronome. The other inspiration that I remember to this type of training was from the kettlebell world, where instead of counting the reps they do in, say, 5 or 10 minutes, they set a metronome and follow a certain fairly low beat for a large amount of time to avoid having to count reps and to avoid that mental barrier that sometimes appear when you know you're supposed to get tired at 55 reps, for example. But what is actually frequency-based training? It is literally performing the target movement that you have chosen for the program to the beat of a metronome. And I'll show that on this video.
Okay, squat, suspension strap row.
With frequency-based training in this context, the beat is fairly high, challenging a client to move as fast as they can for a certain duration of time. And it's simple in the sense that you move on each sound, basically tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, in the way that you saw on the video. So why does frequency-based training work? The core of why frequency-based training work you see on this slide, and it's the so-called impulse momentum theorem, which states that impulse applied to an object, and that's basically the force applied to an object, the body in this case, multiplied by time, is equal to its change in momentum, which is its mass multiplied with its velocity. And the change is signified here by the delta. So the way to understand equation in the context of frequency-based training is this. When you move with a high frequency, there's a large change in velocity every time you reverse a quick deceleration followed by a quick acceleration. So this number here, delta V, is a high number. You multiply that with the mass, and that is to move fast, fairly moderate, often in the ranges of 30 to 50% of the one repetition maximum. So the bracket is a high number. The T, the time, is a low number because you move fast. So the time it takes to change the velocity is short. So the T is a low number. So you have a high number divided with a low number, and that is mathematically a high number. So changing the velocity a lot in a short amount of time requires a high force. So even though the load you're moving is fairly low, when you move it fast, it requires high forces in the reversal point in order to decelerate and re-accelerate. And high forces in this context is equivalent to mechanical tension, which is a key driver of muscular hypertrophy and also to some extent strength. So this slide is the core of why frequency-based training works. There are 3 additional benefits that I will discuss on the last slide. When you move for, and it doesn't have to be a very long time with high frequency, and it's a multi-joint movement or whole body movement, the heart rate elevates close to max. Because of that, one of the first methods we used frequency-based training with is HIIT training and high intensity, and also sprint interval training, SIT. 2 additional benefits that I have discovered along the way is that the metronome drives complete concentration. And I will never forget speaking to a trainer years ago, saying that I train people who come directly from work, and in their minds, they're already at home cooking dinner. So sometimes the challenge is to keep the clients' minds engaged. When we have the metronome, you literally have to stay focused in the present to follow the metronome. And that is what in the flow world is called complete concentration. Complete concentration drives flow, which is one of the drivers of flow, which is that state where we feel our best and perform our best, including increased strength and increased endurance. The last benefits of frequency-based training is that, and you could somewhat see that on the video, it challenges precision of movement in the reversal points. So if the client has, say, almost good technique, but they could be a little bit more crisp, a little bit more stable in the reversal points, then trying to move to the beat of a metronome can be very beneficial. But I want to emphasize here, it can improve technique a little bit. If the client have really bad technique, metronome is likely going to make it a lot worse. So that was an explanation of frequency-based training, history, benefits, what it looks like, and why it works. Give frequency-based training a try.